Ex-wife begs her former husband to become a live-in housekeeper for them after she's buried in debt. Have mercy on me, Mom. I have nowhere else to go. Please give me just one more week. I promise I'll pay, pleaded Alexis Nadella, her voice trembling to her landlady. The landlady had piled all of Alexis's belongings outside the apartment door. I'm at a loss with you, the landlady, a Chinese-American named Ms. Liu, retorted sharply. You haven't paid me for 2 months already. I have a new renter lined up, so you go now. If you don't leave, I call police. Alexis felt her knees weaken the moment the landlady turned away, leaving all her belongings out in the open. Once, Alexis Nadella had been a successful businesswoman, but that business had failed. She didn't regret losing it, because the money had gone toward her mother's hospital bills. 3 years earlier, her mother had slipped into a coma, and her care was painfully expensive. Alexis had hidden from all the creditors she owed for her mum's medical expenses. Life had beaten her down so hard that she wondered if she could keep going. But her mother, comatose as she was, had never given up, so neither would Alexis. She had sacrificed so much of herself for her mother, including her once thriving enterprise, and even her marriage. Yes, she'd once been married to one of the country's most prominent attorneys, Ethan Mendoza. Alexis had chosen to leave him because she couldn't handle splitting her attention between him and her mother's hospital needs. She hadn't dared tell him about her mother's condition because of his snobbish family, so Ethan assumed she had left because she'd found another man. Now Alexis had no choice but to swallow her pride and seek his help. Even if it meant humiliating herself, all she cared about was continuing her mother's treatment. She didn't care what happened to her. What are you doing here, Alexis? Ethan demanded coldly, finding her standing on the doorstep of his home. 3 years of being apart had changed them both in many ways. He was even more handsome now, but also more aloof. She saw his eyes widen in surprise when she sank to her knees before him, tears running down her cheeks. Ethan, please help me. I have nowhere else to stay. I've been thrown out because I can't pay my rent. He gave a short laugh. I see you again after all this time, and here you are, so pitiful. Didn't the man you left me for give you any money? She sucked in a breath, shaking her head. I don't have a man, Ethan. There never was another man. He let out a sarcastic laugh. Don't make me laugh. I know full well you left me because I wasn't enough for you, so you looked elsewhere. Now you show up on my doorstep begging. What do you want? Get back together. No, no, Alexis blurted, which seemed to startle him. I swear, I'm not asking to reconcile. I know you have your own life now. I need help. I have nothing left. I'll do anything, even be your housekeeper. Please. His gaze darkened. My housekeeper? Do you actually think I'd hire you for that? Are you really that deeply in debt? She nodded miserably. Yes, I'm buried. I have people after me. I truly have nowhere to go. Please, Ethan. He stepped back, glaring at her. I don't let people who hurt me set foot in my home again, Alexis. All I see now is a desperate woman I don't even recognize. With that, he turned his back on her. She sank onto the ground, tears pouring down, watching him walk away. Ethan, she sobbed. Her legs felt weak. When he vanished from sight, she forced herself up, wiping her tears. Then she turned and trudged away, towing her luggage behind her. Where would she go? Should she just give herself up to the station so at least she'd have food and a roof in jail? But if she went to prison, what would happen to her mother? Who would pay the hospital bills? Who would oversee things with her caretaker, Brenda, who was looking after what was most precious to her? So many questions racked her mind as she walked aimlessly. She didn't even notice when it started to rain. She was too exhausted to run for shelter, wanting instead to let the downpour drench her body until it gave out. The rain battered her for so long that eventually she collapsed by the roadside, sobbing again. She thought about all the people dear to her and how hopeless she felt. "Why did my life end up like this?" she whispered. "Was my choice so wrong?" Her suitcase was soaked through. She guessed everything inside was ruined. She sat there in the downpour until a glaring set of headlights illuminated her from the front. A car stopped, but she couldn't bring herself to look up, shame filling her. She who had once been so successful was now like this. Tears spilled onto her cheeks. Then she realized the rain had stopped hitting her head. Slowly, she lifted her eyes. She saw Ethan staring down at her, holding an umbrella. His expression was like ice. "You are so stubborn, Alexis," he said. She managed a bitter smile, but then felt so dizzy she nearly toppled over. Before she hit the ground, Ethan steadied her and scooped her up, bridal style. He carried her back to his house. She sat on the edge of a bed, barely moving, a towel around her shoulders. She was freezing. "Wear this," Ethan said gruffly, handing her a folded black t-shirt. "I don't have women's clothing here. Courtney doesn't sleep over, so there's nothing else." Courtney. Must be his new girlfriend, Alexis thought. At least that made sense. She took the shirt from him. "Thank you." "You can stay in the guest room tonight," Ethan said, stepping out. "Tomorrow we'll talk about this job you're proposing and your debts. Change your clothes first." She nodded, quietly watching him exit. The house staff, especially Ms. Rita and Tasha, were shocked to see Alexis return. They welcomed her joyously, but she couldn't find the heart to smile back, given everything that had happened. The next morning, Alexis was in the kitchen, surrounded by the staff who had known her long ago. Ms. Rita beamed at her. "Ma'am Alexis, will you and Mr. Ethan be getting back together?" She shook her head. "No," Tasha pouted. "If that's the case, why are you here?" Alexis let out a breath. "I'm applying to be the housekeeper," she answered simply. Their jaws dropped. Even Ms. Rita blinked repeatedly. "You're applying to be the housekeeper, Ma'am," Ms. Rita repeated in disbelief. "But Mr. Ethan never even let you work when you were married. Now you'll become someone like us? Ma'am, don't do it if you're not getting back together. Just find a place where they'll treat you like a princess. Anyway, it's impossible you two will reconcile. He already has a girlfriend," Tasha blurted. "Hey!" Ms. Rita hissed, swatting Tasha's arm. Alexis forced a polite smile. "I have no intention of wrecking Ethan's new relationship. I'm only here to work, that's all. Will it be forever?" "No," she said, meeting their eyes. "Just until I pay my debts. I can't stay here forever. I still have so much to take care of." "Ethan," she called hesitantly when she saw him in the living room. "Regarding last night?" "Thank you." He exhaled, fixing her with a chilly stare. "You're here as a housekeeper, so don't address me by my first name, Alexis." She froze. Oh, my apologies, sir." He took a seat on the couch and arched an eyebrow. "You're really desperate, huh? You owe a lot, I assume." "Yes, quite a lot," she admitted nervously. "But don't worry, I'll leave as soon as I repay it." He snorted. "You think you can pay that off fast, working here as a maid?" She fell silent. "Tell me who you borrowed from," he demanded. "No," she said softly. She couldn't let him find out what she used the money for, or he'd learn the truth, that her mother was comatose in a hospital, something his parents despised. She couldn't face another storm. "I'll pay it myself. You don't need to know anything," she insisted. "I just want to do this alone. You don't have to worry." Ethan's glare hardened. "You're going to make life difficult for yourself. You don't even know how to cook, Alexis. How do you plan to be an effective housekeeper?" "I do know how," she countered. "I've learned a lot these past few years. Don't worry, I'll manage. Just give me a few months. I promise I won't stay here long, if that's what you're worried about." I'll find another job later, she said firmly, standing up. All she wanted was to reach the finish line quickly, without intruding further into Ethan's new life. If he was happy now, she would step aside. Ms. Rita handed Alexis a maid's uniform, a dress that fell to her knees, white with a dark blue apron. "Wow, ma'am, you still look gorgeous, even in a housekeeper's outfit," Tasha said, impressed, while they were preparing Ethan's breakfast on Alexis's second morning there. "Don't tease me," Alexis sighed with a faint laugh. "Let's just finish working." "Like Mr. Ethan would scold you," Tasha teased. "I remember back then, he just melted around you." Alexis smiled sadly. "That was back then, Tasha. It's different now. Let's not talk about it, or we'll never finish." They served hot dogs, bacon, and omelets, Ethan's usual morning favorites. They also prepared some milk for him. "By the way," Ms. Rita said to Alexis, "Mr. Ethan's girlfriend is arriving tomorrow. Does that bother you?" Alexis offered a casual shrug. "No, why would it?" Ms. Rita studied her carefully. "I don't know, it just seems you've moved on. You're answering me so directly." She gave a warm smile. "That's good, ma'am. I'm happy for you." Alexis forced a slight nod, averting her gaze. Of course it hurt to know Ethan had someone else now, especially since she still loved him. But they'd been apart for years. He deserved happiness. They laid the dishes on the table. Just then, Ethan strode in, freshly awake. "Good morning, sir," Ms. Rita greeted. Alexis looked at him and added softly, "Good morning, sir." He eyed her, then the ladle she was holding. Irritation flickered across his features, and she quickly looked away, continuing to set plates. When he settled into a chair, he asked, "Have you eaten yet?" She froze, mid-placement of his plate. "Pardon?" He sighed, clenching his fists. "Eat with me. I have no one to eat with." He glanced at her hand. "What happened there?" Alexis followed his gaze to the bandage on her finger. "Oh, this? I cut myself, chopping onions." "Have you already eaten with Ms. Rita?" Alexis instinctively bit her lower lip. "I'm just the housekeeper, sir. It's awkward to join you at the table." She slowly backed away. "Enjoy your breakfast," she murmured, exiting the dining area with her heart pounding. She returned to her tasks, and by noon, she went to rest in the garden near the mansion's pool. Examining her cut, she grimaced. It was bigger than she realized. "My goodness, Ms. Rita's job is so tiring," she muttered, pulling out a Band-Aid from her pocket and covering the wound. She only lingered a moment before heading back inside to continue working. Entering the living room, she glimpsed a young woman smiling broadly at Ethan. Alarmed, she darted behind some tall plants. "I thought you weren't coming till tomorrow," Ethan said coolly. "I got excited to see you, babe," replied the young woman, Courtney, taking his hand. "I missed you. I'd like to spend the night if that's okay." "What? Why?" Ethan seemed taken aback. "Because I miss you," she purred. "All right," he conceded. "I'll have the guest room prepared, and we'll have dinner." He then instructed everyone to get things ready for Courtney's unexpected arrival. So that was Ethan's girlfriend. She was gorgeous, with a gentle voice and graceful manner. Alexis felt both genuine happiness that Ethan had someone new and a deep pang of hurt at seeing them together in person. "Ma'am, are you all right?" Tasha asked gently. "Yes, I'm fine," Alexis said. "You guys handle things in here. I'll clean the guest room." "But someone's already assigned to that," Tasha pointed out. "That's okay," Alexis insisted, heading off. She needed something to keep busy so she wouldn't dwell on her feelings. She tidied the guest room thoroughly, replacing bed linens, curtains, and covers. She wouldn't let Courtney feel uncomfortable, especially given that Alexis was the ex-wife. She had no intention of becoming the bitter ex. "What are you doing here?" a voice demanded, startling Alexis so much she almost fell from the stool she stood on. She turned to see Ethan in the doorway, scowling. She scrambled down. "I was cleaning the guest room for your visitor," she explained. "It's nearly done." "She's not sleeping in here," Ethan stated, making her pause. "Huh?" "She'll be sleeping in my room," he clarified. Alexis felt a piercing ache in her chest. She fought the stinging in her eyes and avoided Ethan's gaze as she collected the used curtains. "Oh, right, sorry, sir, but I cleaned it anyway because it was dusty." She hurried out of the room and went to the maid's bathroom, locking the door so she could cry in private. She felt she might die from the pain. She knew she had no right to be upset, but she couldn't stop the tears. Evening came, and Alexis served dinner to Ethan and Courtney. While she was setting down dishes, she overheard Courtney say, "When are you going to introduce me to your family, babe? I want to meet them, so I can be sure they like me." "They're overseas, Courtney," Ethan said flatly. "Why don't we fly to visit them?" she pressed. Ethan didn't reply. "Mom, let me take care of that," Tasha whispered to Alexis, who nodded, stepping back. As she left the dining room, Courtney suddenly called after her, "Hey, are you new here?" Alexis swallowed and looked over, noticing Courtney's eyes widen upon seeing her face. Yes, ma'am. Enjoy your meal." She quietly slipped away, then stepped outside to catch her breath. Courtney had recognized her. Alexis stayed outside a good few minutes until she saw Courtney approach. "You're Ethan's ex-wife, aren't you?" Courtney asked bluntly. "Yes, but we're over. I know my place," Alexis replied. Courtney cut her off. "Over indeed. 3 years. Why are you back now?" She eyed Alexis warily. "You want him back, don't you?" Alexis shook her head. "Number, whatever you're thinking, you're wrong." "Well, I love my boyfriend, and I don't plan to lose him. I don't like seeing you here under the same roof," Courtney snapped. "If you're not staying for long, then good. I'd prefer not to see your face around." With that, Courtney turned on her heel, leaving Alexis with clenched fists. She couldn't blame Courtney. It was only natural that seeing her ex-husband's ex around would trigger suspicion. Still, Alexis never expected what happened next. The following day, Ethan came storming in, grabbing Alexis by the arm. She yelped, trying to pull free, but he was too strong. "Ethan, you're hurting me." He dragged her into his bedroom, shoving her onto the bed and slamming the door. His stare was furious. "What did you say to Courtney?" he demanded, advancing toward her. Alexis shrank back as his hands clamped down on her shoulders. What? "She left last night. She broke up with me. Why?" His eyes blazed. She gaped at him. "She broke up with you?" "Don't act clueless," he spat. "What did you tell her? You scared her off? Threatened her?" Tears welled in Alexis's eyes, fear trembling through her. "I swear I didn't say anything bad. All I told her was that she had nothing to worry about, that I wouldn't try to get back with you." "Bull!" he snapped. She couldn't stop the tears from falling. "If I did something wrong, I'm sorry. I'll make it right. I'll talk to her and fix it." "You think that's easy?" He gripped her hand. "Tell me, Alexis, what do you really want, huh? You say you don't want me back, yet you stay here making me feel guilty. Are you looking for pity?" She swallowed hard. "I never asked for pity, Ethan. All I want is money," she finally confessed, her voice cracking. "I need it to pay off my debts. That's the only reason I came to you. To earn something as your housekeeper. I have no other motive, and I won't stay forever. Once I find something else, I'll go." He stared at her, disbelief etched on his face. "If you want me to pay off your debts, fine. That's all you had to say from the start. Then you wouldn't need to play the maid around here," he said, releasing her and storming over to a drawer. He pulled out a checkbook and pen, scribbled on a check, then marched back, shoving it at her. $2 million. Enough for your debts? Alexis stared at the amount, eyes wide. It was more than enough. Now pay what you owe and don't show your face around here again, he snapped. It felt like her heart was being torn to shreds. She swallowed, her cheeks damp with tears. All right, I'll go, thank you, and I'm sorry for everything I've caused in your life, past and present. He just watched her. Don't worry, I'll find Courtney and try to fix things for you, she added shakily. Then she slipped from his room, tears streaming. She hurried to her small bedroom, packing what little she had. Ms. Rita and Tasha were devastated when she told them she was leaving. No chance you two will ever get back together? Tasha asked, eyes brimming. None, Alexis said quietly, turning to Ms. Rita. I'm happy I got to see all of you again, even if only for a short time. Please make sure Ethan eats what I cooked. I made his favorite. Ma'am, Ms. Rita's voice quivered, if you ever need a housekeeper, hire me. Alexis gave a teary laugh. We're not rich, Ms. Rita. It's better for you to stay here and keep an eye on Ethan. Thank you again. Please take care. She left the mansion with a heavy heart, grateful at least that Ethan seemed well. He didn't need someone as miserable as her in his life. She called Mr. Chase, stepping into a diner to eat. She'd go to the hospital next to check on her mother. Alexis, he answered, have you reconsidered my offer? He laughed. No, Mr. Chase. Actually, I'm calling because I'll be paying my debt to you in full, so I won't need your other arrangements, she said curtly. His tone shifted. You're quite arrogant. You realize I was helping you. I'm excellent in bed. Why not give it a try? She clenched her fist. I'll pay you, Mr. Chase. I'll text you where and when. Goodbye. She ended the call. Mr. Chase was a shady businessman, part of numerous illegal activities. She had borrowed from him out of desperation. No one else in the business community had been willing to help her. She'd married young and never formed many connections. When she defaulted, Mr. Chase demanded her body as payment. Leaving the diner, Alexis arrived at the hospital to visit her mother. As usual, there was no improvement. Her mother remained in a coma, caused by a terrible accident. She hadn't stirred in 3 years. Mom, you look like you're just sleeping, Alexis whispered, tears pooling as she held her mother's hand. I miss you so much. Everyone misses you. She fought back the tears. She didn't want to cry in front of her mother. Please wake up, she murmured, pressing a kiss to her mother's hand. I want to feel your hug again. She stayed for an hour, then left to hail a cab. While waiting, Mr. Chase called again. Where are you, Alexis? I'm getting impatient. Catching sight of a taxi, Alexis flagged it down. I'm on my way, Mr. Chase. Don't worry. Good, he sneered. I'm not good at waiting. She hung up and got in the cab, letting out a long breath. After she settled that debt, she planned to look for a proper job. If necessary, she'd go overseas so she could keep paying for her mother's treatment. She also needed to send money to Brenda, the caretaker for her children. 3 little boys, triplets, whom Ethan knew nothing about. Yes, she'd become pregnant after they separated, and his parents had always hated her. They'd even tried bribing her to leave Ethan, so she'd done just that, and never told him about the kids, not wanting more trouble. When the taxi dropped her off at Mr. Chase's chosen meeting spot, she saw his car and his 2 bodyguards waiting. She paid the driver and got out. Mr. Chase approached, eyebrows pinched until he spotted her. Alexis, good thing you showed, he boomed, sounding pleased. I was getting bored. I'm here to pay my debt, she said, handing him an envelope containing $1 million. It was all she needed to clear what she owed him. He snorted, flipping through the money. Where'd you get this much cash? Let me guess. You sold yourself to someone else? That's none of your concern, Mr. Chase. Thank you for the loan, she said, turning to go, but he made a signal to his two men, who grabbed Alexis by both arms. Her pulse spiked. "Mr. Chase, what's going on?" He smirked, stepping closer in the deserted alley. "So beautiful. Shame your ex-husband let you go. I'll take my share of pleasure before you walk away from me completely." She struggled, but the guards forced her toward Mr. Chase's car. "Help! Somebody help me!" she screamed, fighting not to be shoved into the vehicle. "So noisy," Mr. Chase growled, slugging her hard in the stomach. Alexis doubled over, gasping, too weak to resist as they shoved her inside. The car wouldn't start, though. The engine wouldn't turn over. "What's the problem?" Mr. Chase snapped. "Boss, maybe we're out of gas," his driver muttered. Before Mr. Chase could respond, someone knocked on the car window. He rolled it down, and Alexis found herself staring into Ethan's icy gaze. Ethan raised a small stun weapon and fired a non-lethal shot, knocking Mr. Chase unconscious. Then he fired again, taking out the two bodyguards. Are they dead?" Alexis choked. Ethan yanked open the back door. "Get out! They're not dead," he said, voice still cold. She scrambled from the car, and he slammed the door shut. Taking out his phone, he fired off a text. Ethan!" she stammered, tears in her eyes. "Thank you." She tried to smile but found she couldn't. He let out a sigh and took her wrist gently. "Let's go home," he said softly, leading her to his own car. Tears pricked Alexis's eyes. For the first time in 3 years, she felt a hint of warmth in his touch. He brought her to a restaurant, ordering food for them both. While they waited, she set an envelope on the table. "Here, this is the leftover money from what you gave me. It's too much," she murmured. "I was planning to return it to you anyway. Don't worry, once I get back on my feet, I'll repay everything you covered." He studied her quietly. She bit her lip. "Why didn't you tell me about your mom being in a coma?" he asked. Her eyes widened. How did you... Is that why you're in debt? Why your business failed? Why you left me?" He dragged a hand over his face. "Never mind." He fell silent, and so did she. They ate quickly, then he offered to drive her. "Where are you staying?" he asked, pulling onto the road. "Jade, just drop me by this alley," she said quietly. He frowned, side-eyeing her. "Why won't you tell me where you live?" She swallowed. I'm not going home yet. I have somewhere else I need to go," she lied. When they neared the alley, she pointed it out, and he parked. She slipped out of the car, glancing back at him. "Thank you." He just watched her. "Take care," she added, awkwardly, then shut the door. She saw him drive off before she entered the alley to find her real home, where her 3 children waited. "Mommy! Mama! Mom!" 3 little voices called out. All her fear and fatigue vanished at the sight of her 2-year-old triplets running to greet her. "Miss Alexis," Brenda, their caretaker, said, smiling. "Thank you, Brenda," Alexis murmured. "It's nothing," Brenda replied. Alexis knelt, giving each toddler a kiss on the forehead. One reached up with outstretched arms. "Mama, milk," he demanded, tapping his mouth. "Okay, I'll fix your milk. Behave, all right?" Another child started crying, so Alexis scooped him up. "Oh, honey, what's wrong?" she soothed. He pointed to his forehead. "Owie!" She kissed it. "There, all better." Yes, she had triplets, 3 sons, each addressing her differently. The serious, fussy one called her Mommy, the chatty one Mama, and the quiet one Mum. Bearing them had been tough. She'd wanted to nurse them all herself when they were newborns, but with 3, she didn't have enough milk, so she'd needed to supplement with bottles. She'd never told Ethan about them. His family hated her, and he believed she'd been with another man. She feared he'd deny them if she told him the truth now. Later, she handed an envelope to Brenda. Here's your salary, though it's 2 months late. I promise to do better soon. Brenda smiled, accepting it. Thank you, Miss Alexis. I'm just glad to help. Alexis breathed a sigh of relief. I swear, one day we'll get back on our feet. I'm just waiting for my mum to wake up. Then I'll start over again. 2 weeks slipped by. Day after day, Alexis couldn't stop replaying all that had happened. Her humiliating request to Ethan, the attack by Mr. Chase. One afternoon, she was in her small room, gazing out the window, lost in thought. Her phone suddenly rang. The caller was an unregistered number. She answered, "Hello? Who's this?" "Alexis," said a familiar voice. "Ethan." Her heart fluttered in surprise. "How did you get my number?" she almost asked. Instead, she simply blurted, Ethan." "I'm picking you up," he stated. Her jaw dropped. "What? Why?" He was silent for a long moment. "We'll grab a bite. I'm in the alley near your place right now. If you don't want me waiting forever, get ready." "Why are you here?" she stammered. "Wait, stay put, don't leave." She hung up and rushed to the bathroom to freshen up. Brenda noticed her agitation. "You okay, Miss Alexis?" Alexis glanced at her 3 toddlers. "Mama, kiss. Mommy, hug. Mom, love you," they pleaded, all bright-eyed. She laughed, hugging and kissing each one. "I'll see you soon, sweethearts," she whispered, stroking their hair, then dashed to the shower. She couldn't guess Ethan's motive. Did he and Courtney never reconcile? Was he bored? She wasn't sure. Still, something in her chest fluttered with both dread and anticipation. After a frantic few minutes, she slipped out, heading to the alley where he waited. She hadn't even had time to fix her hair well. She found him standing by his car, hands in his pockets. Sorry for keeping you," she murmured. He eyed her from head to toe. "Let's go." "Where are we going? Is this quick? What's—" she asked in a rush. Ethan glanced at Alexis. "Got other plans?" he asked. She looked at him, blinking. "Ah, not really. It's just weird that you're asking me out now instead of trying to reconcile with your girlfriend." "There's no us anymore," he replied. Then he opened the passenger door for her. Alexis climbed into his car, swallowing nervously. Whatever might come of this outing, she hoped it would be good for them both. They headed to a Chinese restaurant where Ethan ordered mostly seafood. The place wasn't busy, so it was very quiet. If they spoke, anyone nearby could probably hear every word. Ethan," Alexis began. "Why did you bring me here?" "To eat," he answered, looking her in the eye. "And because I want to talk to you." "Talk about what?" "About us." Her eyes widened. Ethan, you don't have a boyfriend, right?" he asked. "Tell me if you do." "No, I don't," she answered. "Why?" "Good," he murmured, lifting the corner of his mouth in a slight smile. Then he glanced at his watch. "After we finish eating, we'll visit your mother. I'm sorry for how I treated you before. I had no idea about your situation. I only found out when I followed you." "You followed me?" Alexis repeated. He nodded. "Yes, that's how I managed to save you from that man. Don't worry, he's behind bars now, resting in jail." He got arrested," Alexis whispered, referring to Mr. Chase. "He's a drug lord," Ethan said bluntly. "He deserves it." Their food arrived, and Ethan sat up straighter. "We'll talk again after we eat. Let's enjoy these dishes first." Surrounded by the delicious plates he'd ordered, Alexis momentarily forgot their complicated situation. It had been a while since she'd tasted a really good meal. But once they were finished, she spoke up again. Would you like me to talk to your ex-girlfriend?" she offered. "I mean, to Courtney. I really didn't say anything bad to her, so—" "I don't care about her anymore," Ethan cut in. "She was cheating on me." "She cheated?" Alexis echoed, surprised. "Let's not talk about her. Let's talk about you. You lost your business. So how have you been supporting yourself? She lowered her gaze. I pawned my jewelry just to buy food. I was renting a small place, but I got evicted because I couldn't keep up the payments. And, well, I still have a lot of responsibilities. Who's Brenda? He asked, changing the subject. She's the only one I trust, Alexis said. She never left me, even at my worst. Where did you pawn your jewelry? Ethan asked. Let's go get it. He abruptly stood. Alexis leapt up in confusion. What? No way! I don't have any money. I'll handle it. He cut her off. Let's go. He moved closer and she gasped when he took her by the hand. Come on, Alexis. They left the restaurant and went to the pawn shop where she'd left her valuables. Alexis felt awkward letting Ethan redeem them. It cost a lot, and he paid without question. Here. He handed her a paper bag containing the items. She swallowed hard. Ethan, why are you doing this? We're not even together anymore. You shouldn't have to. I want to be your husband again, he replied. Is that too much to ask? Her eyes dropped to the floor. But I still love you, he said, making her snap her gaze to him in shock. They were in his car, just after leaving the shop, planning to visit her mother at the hospital. I couldn't get over you, Alexis, so when you told me you had no intention of reconciling, I was hurt. His hands tightened on the steering wheel. And it killed me to see you beg, to see you washing dishes in my home, wearing that maid's uniform. I used to treat you like a queen when we were married, so it hurt to see you like that. Ethan, I know you might not be ready to come back to me, he said, so I'll court you again. I'll start from scratch. Will you let me do that, Alexis? She couldn't answer right away. On one hand, this could finally allow her sons to know their father. On the other, there were complicated factors, like his family, who disliked her, and the ex-girlfriend he'd just broken up with. Still, maybe she could be selfish for once, especially since she still loved him too. Let me think about it, she whispered, turning away. I hope you understand. He nodded. I understand. For now, let's head to the hospital to see your mother. She clutched the bag of jewelry, her heart pounding. At the hospital, Alexis led Ethan into the room where her mother lay in a coma. She busied herself rearranging the sofa while Ethan stared at the bed in disbelief. She glanced at him. He looked overwhelmed. She's like a sleeping beauty, right? Alexis said softly. She's still beautiful, even though she's asleep. Ethan's eyes remained on her mother. He slowly sat on the sofa, exhaling. She had no idea we separated, Ethan, Alexis said. She never knew. I needed to focus on her. That's why I left, so I wouldn't drag you down or ruin your career as an attorney. But you should have told me, Ethan argued, looking at her with pained eyes. I was your husband, Alexis. If I'd known, I would have helped you, even if I was struggling too. He scooted closer and gently cupped her face. Tears pricked her eyes. You didn't have to break our marriage over this, he whispered, wiping away one of her tears. You're not alone, Alexis. That was all it took for her to break down, sobbing in his arms. She hadn't felt anyone's embrace in a long time. After 3 years of suffering alone, she found a measure of peace there. She explained her reasons for leaving him, not everything, but enough that he finally understood. They stayed an hour longer, then left. As they walked out, Ethan said, I need to drop by the house. I'll grab something before I take you home. She hesitated. I can just wait in the car, she muttered. Come in, he insisted. Before she could protest again, someone spoke up behind them, making them both turn. Alexis's eyes grew wide at the sight of Courtney, standing near the mansion's main door, an angry and pained look on her face. I knew it, Courtney muttered, stepping toward them. So this is it, huh? Alexis? After all the lies you fed me, claiming you wouldn't try to get him back, here you are waltzing back into his life. Courtney tried to get closer, but Ethan blocked her. Stop, Courtney, he said. No, Ethan, I can't accept this, Courtney cried. You left me that night, and I hoped you'd come after me, apologize, and reassure me you weren't going back to your ex. But now I see how it is. Alexis felt sick with guilt at Courtney's tearful accusations. Courtney turned to Ethan. You said she cheated on you. That's why she left. Now you're letting her back in. And what about me? What am I supposed to do? Disappear. Ethan's gaze hardened. Stop crying, Courtney. You cheated on me first. Her eyes bulged. No, why would I do that? I love you. I came here because I want you back. My mother saw you kissing another man abroad before you broke up with me, Ethan said quietly. You're real lovers in another country. Don't deny it. Courtney froze, tears streaming down her face. Please, Ethan, let's just fix this. I want to fix things with my ex-wife. Ethan cut her off. I still love her. Courtney sobbed harder, but Ethan was resolute. Alexis felt guilty. They'd clearly hurt this woman. That evening, Alexis returned home and hugged her children, who were fast asleep. Her chest felt so tight that she could barely breathe. 2 weeks passed, and in that time, she avoided Ethan entirely. She didn't want to think about the woman they'd both hurt. Today, however, she was getting ready to take her kids out for the first time. She no longer cared if someone recognized them. It was time they went out as a family. The triplets were so excited they couldn't stop squealing. Brenda, the nanny, helped gather their things. At last, you're all going out together. Are you going to introduce them to Mr. Ethan? Alexis paused. Would Ethan be angry she'd hidden his children all this time? Would he accept them? Someday, Brenda, when things are right, she mumbled. Brenda called her cousin to help push one of the triplets' strollers. They headed to a nearby church, but they only lasted a few minutes. One child was louder than the priest, and another started bawling. People stared, so they left. They tried a fast food chain next, but one son's diaper leaked, and the restaurant was packed, so they hurried out. They tried a kids' play place, but the children all cried so loudly that they ended up at a public park instead, laying a mat on the grass for a simple picnic. This was the best choice, Mom, Brenda said, biting into her burger. They can run around freely. Alexis sipped her drink. You're right. They look so happy, Brenda added. I've watched them grow, and I know they'll break a lot of hearts someday. They're so handsome. Alexis smiled, pulling out her phone to snap a photo. As she aimed the camera, she realized only 2 of them were in view. Wait, where's Christo? She gasped, leaping up. Brenda and her cousin stood, equally worried. Oh no, Alexis murmured, scanning the crowd in a panic. Please watch the other 2. I'll find him. She hurried around, heart pounding. With so many people it was hard to see. But then she spotted Christo toddling after a ball. She sprinted toward him, but before she could reach him, he tripped and fell in front of a woman. Oh, what a cute little guy! Where are you going? The stranger helped Christo up. Alexis rushed over, taking hold of her son. I'm so sorry, Mom, She trailed off as she lifted her gaze and locked eyes with Ms. Jane, Ethan's mother. She had apparently arrived back in the country, and the shock on her face was unmistakable. Alexis? Ms. Jane stared, stunned. Christo burst into tears, so Alexis scooped him up, trying to soothe him. What's going on here? Ms. Jane asked. She glanced repeatedly at Alexis and the crying little boy. Is this your child? Alexis swallowed. Before she could reply, her other son came running up, yelling, Mommy! Mommy! Ms. Jane's eyes widened at the sight of a second child, who looked just like the first. Twins? They look so much like Ethan, she exclaimed. Alexis said nothing, her stomach twisting in knots. Then, hearing another cry, she turned to see Brenda carrying the third triplet. Ms. Jane staggered back, her mouth falling open. Triplets? What in the world? Alexis, did you hide Ethan's children from him? Alexis closed her eyes, knowing there was no hiding it now. Ms. Jane was already pulling out her phone, flustered. Ethan needs to know, she insisted. He's my son, and these are his kids. I won't let you take them from me, Alexis said firmly. You didn't give birth to them. Don't even try. Ms. Jane ignored her pleas, punching in numbers. Alexis grabbed the phone from her hand before it could dial. Ms. Jane gasped. I'll tell Ethan myself, Alexis said quietly, pocketing the phone. I want him to hear it from me. With that, Alexis turned and walked away, gathered her children, and left the park, Ms. Jane's phone still in her hand. Back home, she tucked the children in for a nap. She stared at her own phone, eyeing Ethan's number. If Ms. Jane got to him first, the story might be twisted. She braced herself, then dialed. Alexis? Ethan's voice came through, sounding hopeful. Have you decided to give me a chance? Ethan, is your mum there? She asked anxiously. No, why? Alexis breathed out in relief. She said she left her phone with me. Really? That's weird. She mentioned you, though. Did she say anything bad to you? No, Alexis lied. Look, can you come pick up her phone? I'll send you my address. Sure, the alley again. Go past that to the green gate, she instructed. See you soon. See you, he replied, then hung up. Brenda overheard. Are you going to introduce the kids to him? She asked. Alexis nodded slowly. Yes, I'll do it now. There's no reason to hide them. Brenda looked relieved. That's good, ma'am. Now your family can be complete. Maybe when your mother wakes up, everything will come full circle. Alexis waited a few minutes for Ethan's arrival, planning to let him see the kids while they were still napping. But as luck would have it, Christo, the chattiest of the three, woke up wanting the bathroom. Ma! Ma! He cried, pointing to his backside. Alexis took him into potty, but she could hear the other two stirring in the living room. Mommy! Mom! They called. Alexis sighed. Once Christo finished, she carried him out and froze in shock. Ethan had let himself in, and the other two were blocking his way, looking up at him curiously. Ethan, for his part, stood there wide-eyed. Alexis, he stammered as soon as he saw her holding yet another toddler. What is this? She swallowed. Ethan. Who are they? He asked, eyes darting from her to the children, realizing they were all clinging to her, calling her different names. Mommy, Mom! Ethan looked even more rattled. Why do they look like me? He muttered. Alexis gathered her courage. They're my children, Ethan, and you're their father, she said quietly. Ethan's mouth dropped open. My children? Yes, she confirmed. They're yours. Suddenly, Ethan's eyes rolled back, and he fainted on the spot, sending everyone into a panic. The toddlers squealed as Alexis hurried to kneel at his side. One child even climbed on top of him, trying to pry open his eyelids, while another stuck a baby bottle in his mouth. Stop, kids! Alexis gasped, gently removing the bottle. Just then, Ethan slowly came to, blinking at the sight of three identical little faces staring at him. He shot upright, scanning them again. We have kids, he whispered hoarsely. Why didn't you tell me? Brenda quietly slipped out, leaving them some privacy. Ethan's voice shook. There's so much you never told me, he said, hugging the children. Alexis felt guilt rising in her throat. She had indeed been selfish. Now there was no more hiding. From that day forward, Ethan visited daily, forging a quick bond with the triplets, especially Christo, who was quite a charmer. Alexis had feared Ethan might try to take the kids away from her, but he didn't. One evening, after the children had gone to bed, Ethan joined Alexis outside, beneath a bright moon. She gazed at him warily as he spoke. "Alexis," he said, "if we were to get back together, would you agree?" She bit her lip. "Are you only saying that because of our kids?" "I love you," Ethan answered simply, his words making her heart pound. "I've wanted you back even before I knew about them. Knowing I have children only made me want you more. If you're worried about my mum, well, she actually told me to win back my family. She wants to see her grandchildren." He took her hand. "Will you be Mrs. Mendoza again?" he asked, pulling a ring from his pocket. Her eyes welled with tears. "Ethan, I love you too. My feelings never really went away." "Then let's remarry," he said, slipping the ring onto her finger. She closed her eyes as he leaned in for a gentle kiss under the moonlight. They returned to Ethan's mansion to live together with the kids, and Brenda came along too. Ms. Rita and Tasha cried tears of happiness upon seeing Alexis again, especially with 3 little lookalikes in tow. "My gosh!" Ms. Rita exclaimed, carrying the quietest triplet. "They're the spitting image of Mr. Ethan." "See?" Tasha laughed. "I knew it. They're meant to be. He never really let you go, Mom. He gave you quite the souvenir." Soon, Alexis met Ms. Jane again. This time the older woman fussed over her newly discovered grandkids, apologizing for the past. Everything in Alexis's life seemed to be coming together, except for one lingering sadness. Her mother was still in a coma. "We'll wait until your mother wakes," Ethan told Alexis one day, kissing her on the forehead. "We'll marry properly when she's able to witness it." Alexis tried to mask her anxiety. "What if she never wakes, Ethan?" "She will," he insisted. "Come on, let's go see her." They visited the hospital. As usual, her mother lay there, peaceful but unresponsive. Alexis touched her hair gently. "You're still so beautiful, Mom," she whispered. "Please wake up. Ethan and I are getting married again. We want you to be part of it. There's so much to tell you," she added, pressing a kiss to her mother's hand. Then she stepped back, exhaling heavily. Ethan caught her eye. "Let's grab dinner, then come back to change the curtains," she suggested. He guided her toward the door with a hand around her waist. They were about to leave when a faint voice spoke. "Daughter." Alexis froze, heart pounding. Slowly she turned, and tears sprang to her eyes as she saw her mother's eyes open for the first time in 3 years. Mom, you're awake," she cried, rushing back to her bedside. "Please, Ethan, call a doctor." Ethan dashed out, while Alexis bent over her mother, sobbing. "Mommy, you're awake at last. I've waited for so long. I missed you so much." Her mother gently touched Alexis's arm, giving a small smile. "Oh, honey," she whispered, barely audible. "Thank you for coming back, Mom. Thank you." Her mother remained in the hospital for observation, but the miracle had happened. She was awake. A few months later, once her mother had regained her strength, Alexis and Ethan finally remarried. This time, her mother escorted her down the aisle. During the ceremony, everyone's attention kept getting drawn to the triplets, who were fidgeting at the front. The guests were amused by the little trio, especially Christo, who was wide-eyed and fascinated by all the people. Alexis turned to Ethan, tears shining. "I'm so happy, Ethan. Thank you," he cupped her chin. "I'm happy too, Alexis, and I'm glad you're my wife again," he murmured. "Plus, we have our children now." They heard the clinking of glasses from the guests, who were chanting, "Kiss, kiss." Alexis blushed, and Ethan pulled her close by the waist. She closed her eyes as he leaned in for a kiss. Cheers erupted all around. When they glanced back, they saw all 3 kids watching them intently. "Mama, kiss," "Mommy, kiss. Mom, kiss," they chorused. Ethan and Alexis exchanged laughter, leaning down to hug the children. Alexis planted kisses on each boy's cheeks. Then they posed together for photos with her mother and the rest of their family. "Love you, Mommy. Daddy," called one of the triplets, hugging Ethan tight. "Love you, Mom and Dad," the others piped in. "I love you too," Ethan said, wrapping his arms around them. "Thank you for bringing your mom and me back together. I promise to be the best father I can be." Alexis smiled tearfully, glancing at her mother, who was also beaming at them from nearby, chatting amiably with Miss Jane. Everything had fallen into place. Her mother had awakened, she'd reconciled with Ethan, and their children finally had the family they deserved. The end. What valuable lesson did you learn from this story? Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments below. Rest assured your comments will be read and cherished. Many thanks for reading.